Welcome back to Drjudionline. Thank you for joining me. And we're in Chapter 7 of Peaches, Womanist Thoughts on Finding Peace, Overcoming Peril, and Tapping Power. Chapter 7, Peach Portraiture. Peach backdrops. As an ethnographer, it is probably best to have me present the backdrop for several portraits. Portraiture is a qualitative methodology that I learned from MacArthur Fellow and my former professor at Harvard Graduate School of Education, Dr. Sarah Lawrence Lightfoot. I present backdrops for these portraits in an effort to help us see ourselves, the way we show up in the world, generational blessings, and ultimately to help us unite and thrive individually and collectively. The portraits, which may be part you, part me, part your neighbor, or part a relative, may be familiar or foreign to you and will ultimately be helpful to each of us. Many Americans and those from around the world who watch cable and satellite television consider Black women to be one monolithic group. Examine these portraits, which may resemble someone you know, but are composites for healing and educative purposes. Let's examine the portraits in an effort to pull together to make our lives more peaceful and more prosperous. God is the only judge. Therefore, these portraits are designed in order to help the third and fourth generations prosper as we lead the way. Welfare queens. I am neither disrespecting those who receive public assistance when I refer to welfare queens, nor am I buying into an underclass that America has created for far too many precious peaches. Although we didn't receive reparations, America is neither going to redistribute the land nor revoke white male privilege. So some of us do need government assistance during different seasons of our lives. There is a difference between those in need and those who use welfare as a generational tradition and in some cases abuse it, i.e. claiming more residents to get a larger Section 8 apartment, selling food stamps, etc. I received WIC for 6 months in Hampton, Virginia when our son was 3 or 4, and food stamps for 18 months while living with our son in Mississippi. Like Paul Ryan, the current Speaker of the House, our son received Social Security benefits in connection with their fathers. The difference is that our son's benefits ended at age 18 when he was on his way to college. Paul Ryan's benefit continued throughout his college years. He was reared on what some people would refer to as welfare, SSI or SSA. However, because he is male, white, and blue-eyed, he is not considered to be a welfare king, but simply a king. That is what it means to profile and stereotype when we are all human and all want and need the same things in life. Many who receive government benefits have to remain a queen without a king because if the king moves in or spends more than 10 nights each month in her home, she may lose her home and her benefits. Here I take my cue from Tupac Shakur. I give honor to my peaches on welfare. I care if don't nobody else care. I substituted the word peaches there. Those who will do anything not to be welfare queens. Some of our peaches in this group of women will shame their children, abandon their children, sell their children, steal, cheat, marry for money, stay with abusers, and suck people on every corner just to have the things that no one cares about. Their motivation is generally greed, not need. White people don't care about what we acquire and will never see the inside of our homes or closets or vehicles. Most blacks will never see the things, but this group will do everything they can to have everything they can, and when they die, all of the things make no difference at all. Someone will have to cover all the things in a tarp in the carport and have it hauled to the trash dump. Gang related. Some of the oldest and most influential gang members are older peaches who run illegal empires like Fortune 500 companies. Think of Taraji P. Henson's character on the Fox television series Empire, and you will have a clear picture of a gang-related peach. Hustlers, users, bootleggers, and those skilled in the art of getting over. When I think of hustlers and those who are skilled in the art of getting over, I think of a grandmother whom I will call Jackie. I met her in the market when her grandson almost ran over me. She smiled and said, "Oh, he's artistic." Not autistic. He's artistic. His autism check is her prize. His check and food stamps probably cover the housing, utilities, and food for at least a family of 4, mom, grandmom, another sibling, and one of their men. The boy may or may not have autism. He may have it, or he may simply need discipline, a bedtime, a proper diet, and expectations. Brianna is another sister in the category of peaches, skilled in the art of getting over. Brianna told me of the women who left chicken bones in Walmart. She said women get the chicken from the deli, eat it while they shop, and leave the bones on the shelf. Brianna explained this to me. She knew the story so well because she is probably the one who did it. She and her children get full while they shop. They go home with full bellies and a car loaded with groceries, purchased with an EBT/food stamp card. And by the way, the car has been paid off by some government program that her white sister-in-law signed her up for. The handicap tags come in handy when shopping or getting to the front of the line when President Obama visits her town. Her foil, paper towels, and trash bags and other items which are not EBT eligible are under her bed, courtesy of the civil rights group where she volunteers and runs errands for the HPIC, head peach in charge. Brianna is not much different from the sophisticated Faith. Faith will order a meal at a restaurant, eat until she's satisfied, and then tell the waitress that she does not like the food. The manager will more than likely ring her meal up as complimentary. She has a full stomach, free. Warning, never go out to eat with Faith. This group is also very litigious. They may have 4 lawsuits going on at one time in order to make an income. WWE, Wicked Witch of the East. We'll call this Peach Annette. She's very skilled in acquiring things, keeping a perfectly neat home and yard, and usually has a quasi-professional husband and a 30-year mortgage. She is in constant competition with others and will only help those who are in extreme poverty. She will never help anyone in her socioeconomic status because they may get ahead of her. She won't help her nieces and nephews get into college because she wants her children to be the only educated ones in the family. She and her sister, WWW, the Wicked Witch of the West, clap at the scenes in old movies like The Bad Seed and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane when something horrible happens to someone. How dreadful. She has a fierce, unhealthy, unspoken competition with her siblings, especially the one on the West Coast, WWW. WWW is Wicked Witch of the West. This peach is similar to her sister on the East Coast. They have the same mother and the same values. Her name is Packy. She smiles in everyone's face and talks behind their back. She is a horrible person. She will invite you to stay at her house and then watch you like a hawk saying, "She won't get my husband." You don't want her husband, but the sad part is she doesn't want him either. Even her own children are damaged because of her debasement. One son jumped to his death as a teenager. The other is caught up in homelessness, mental illness, and addiction. They both seem to want to escape her critical radar. She spent a great deal of her life hoarding, bringing things from the Philippines, and acquiring things just to have a home full of old things that no one cares about. Her mother taught her not to help her brothers and sisters because it would hold her back. Poor Packy. Packy invited me to her church to preach. Her son later told me that she brought me to the church to show me off in front of her choir members. The terrorizers. Packy, the WWW, Wicked Witch of the West, is a terrorizer as well. Her son used the word terrorize when she invited me to speak at her church. She wanted to terrorize the choir members and her church friends with her family member who went to Harvard, spoke well, and had hair that bounced. She was showing off just to terrorize them. There's a court clerk, I would call her Carla. She is mad at the world, unless of course you are a man or have blue eyes. She hates me because she hates herself. She distrusts me because that is what Willie Lynch taught former slave masters who taught our foreparents, who taught us. They taught us to pit the light-skinned against the dark-skinned. People make jokes about it, but colorism is a sensitive subject when we did not make ourselves. Long before integrated marriage was legal, many blacks were lighter-skinned because of rape. For some, it is a symbol of shame. For others, it is a badge of honor because it is closer to white skin and blue eyes. Carla hated me because it was the curly hair against the nappy hair. It was Miss Seeley from The Color Purple dragging her feet against Suge Avery. Everything she loved about Suge Avery, she hated about herself. Carla uses her positional power to terrorize rather than to uplift the terrorized. Some of these peaches are terrorized and don't even know it. They are the crabs who try to climb out of the figurative bucket while the others try to pull them back mentally and emotionally. Young mothers, I pray that God will bless the young mothers. We have all been young once. We need to bless them, be examples for them, and celebrate them. Grandmothers, great-grandmothers, none of us is perfect, but we must also pray for matriarchs in the black family. In many black families, the grandmothers are the backbones, babysitters, parental authority, and decision makers. Control freaks. I will call her Guinea. She gets her husband's paycheck, her mother-in-law's check, her foster son's check, pays her husband's child support, and even keeps her sick sister in her closet-turned-bedroom in order to control her benefits. She controls everything, shops all of the time, and does not look like she shops at all. Poor Guinea. It is great to be organized, but control freaks never relax and are always acquiring information and taking on other people's business affairs. Anna is another control freak. She was adopted by a woman who already had 9 children. She, not the other 9 children, takes care of all of her mother's business affairs and her daughter's business affairs, fills her father's refrigerator with beer and food, and takes care of her man who is incarcerated, his mother, and their affairs. Anna comes from a place of love and caring, but ends up looking like a black tornado sweeping through the lives of those whom she loves. Up front and down front women. Someone very close to me told me they call you all upfront women. To this day, I don't recall if he said up front or down front. Since we live in a male-dominated patriarchal society, you have probably heard of men who are on the down low. They are the ones who have homosexual or bisexual tendencies and desires, but keep it quiet on the down low. Well, to whom are these men married? These men are married to and have children with upfront women. We are the peaches who are up front, helping the man on the down low look acceptable. Political leaders, civil rights leaders, retired civil rights leaders. I give thanks and respect to all of the political leaders, civil rights leaders, and retired civil rights leaders. Thank you for your sacrifices and services. You make the world and the black communities better places. Thank you. First ladies. First ladies are as diverse as any other group of people. I give my respect to all first ladies who are constantly judged based on their appearance, participation, children, and hospitality. None of us is perfect, but sometimes we expect the first lady to be perfect, multi-talented, patient, and sometimes unopinionated. Pastors, overseers, and ministers. Blessed are those who preach the gospel. I bless and honor all the pastors, overseers, and ministers who work tirelessly to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Singers. Whether a peach sings gospel, jazz, blues, rhythm and blues, or country, they add a lot to our lives and to the entire world. Music is universal and spreads joy and happiness to all who hear it. God bless the singers. Church whores, in parentheses, church wives. We know what whores are. Some women come to church and try to be intimate and seek attention from each pastor who serves and any deacon or visitor who comes to the church. I had never heard the term church wife until recently. One married pastor whose wife does not attend church told another lady, Danis, "You're going to be my church wife." Poor Danis, poor wife. I told one preacher, "You would meet me at the hotel, but I can't preach at your church." The music group U2 was moving out of the top floor of the hotel as I was moving in. The black male president of the National Baptist Convention, whom I met at Harvard Divinity School, invited me for Thanksgiving dinner to share the Save Tunica message. I thought I would eat with his family. He picked me up in an Excalibur, with which I was unfamiliar and unimpressed, and we ate at a country club. He gave me a tour of his church. He looked shocked when I said, "Maybe one day I'll preach here." He neither touched me nor attempted to touch me. I wanted to be his peer, his colleague, but that never happened. He did allow me to make a Save Tunica presentation at the midwinter meeting of the convention. Happy Jacks. These peaches get happy at church, running up and down the aisles. Some are true worshipers who add a lot to the service. The Happy Jacks. Call girls. These peaches are paid for services. Before the internet, you could find them and their services in newspaper advertisements, at clubs, and or through their pimps. Party girls. Some peaches party as a lifestyle. For some peaches, the party never ever ends. Social media queens. There are several types of social media peaches. Angels, motivators, world changers, agitators, show-offs, peacemakers, and organizers. Professional working women. I give much respect to those who work for and run businesses. The dedication, professionalism, and time away from home are very admirable. Bravo to the professional peaches. Sometimes when we are professional, people consider us to be bitches. I had an appointment for a man to come check on my plumbing situation. He was scheduled to be there at 8 a.m. on Sunday. He arrived around 11 a.m. and said, "I hope I didn't wake you." I said, "I missed Sunday school waiting for you. I was going to open the house and take my son to church." He looked at me with his gold teeth and shiny truck and said, "You must think I'm hungry." No, I didn't think he was hungry. I think I am professional and I expect others to be. I learned, Sister Peaches, not to expect anything. Then you won't be disappointed. I salute the professional peaches who are business owners, Ivy Leaguers, and Black Ivy Leaguers. Mad at the world. I know we have been through a lot, but some peaches are just mad at the world. Glenda is a branch manager at a national bank in the black neighborhood. It was dreadful. It was a dreadful experience each time I had to deal with the branch manager at my neighborhood bank. Glenda had a mean attitude at each encounter, asking, "What do you want, Judi?" or commanding, "Sit down, Judi." She would even act like I was asking for an act of Congress if I needed to get into my safe deposit box because she was taking care of an ill father. Long after her father died, it was the same old Glenda. Mad, tired, unprofessional, with food and lotion all over her desk. Someone who has known Glenda since childhood said, "That's just the way Glenda is." Some peaches are just mad at the world. Mother Teresa and Good Samaritans. There are some peaches who simply want to do good. Plain and simple, they want to help and make the world a better place. SMS, Sweet Mama of the South. Nearly everyone knows or knows of a sweet mama of the South. Some are called Madia, short for Mother Dear. She is always there to listen, is loving and non-judgmental, and lives a very long life. She is one of the sweetest peaches of them all. Medical guinea pigs. I think about our sisters Tatiana and Brendella, whose bodies look like crime scenes. Tatiana is always perspiring. She says it started after she got a shot. The U.S. Public Health Service was established in 1798 while we were still slaves. There was testing done on slaves and blacks before medically testing white patients. Even today, there are peaches who are paid for medical testing. When we have hysterectomies and mastectomies, we're having parts of our bodies amputated. I have never heard of a man having any part of his body amputated. One mentally challenged peach had a breast removed. She stayed in the hospital for over 30 days. She said she was in a charity bed. She was told that some doctors die and leave money to the hospital for patients who cannot afford care. She said she was on such heavy narcotics that she did not remember a thing. I believe they were testing on her. And Black Realty. When my husband became ill, my father invited us to move closer to him. I was caring for an ill husband and breastfeeding a baby and buying and selling homes. My father's pastor's wife, Ann Black, facilitated the cash sale. She saw that my husband was ill, our son was young, and my mother was totally unsupportive. She also saw that we paid for the house in cash. She begged us out of a bed, headboard, and mattress and came back for the linen. After my husband and I separated, one of her daughters, Stella, who also had a son, began to date my husband. I guess the daughter begged too. I have a return check written out to our daughter for $200 written on our joint account signed by my husband. I hope Ann enjoyed the bed and the linen and Stella enjoyed the $200. I suppose Stella wanted to move into my life and have the man and house I left for safety reasons. Rather than being a good Samaritan in a situation where she made straight commission on a cash sale, First Lady Black saw it as a situation to be exploited. It neither benefited her nor her wonderful daughter. The peaches don't fall far from the tree. Unconditional Lovers. A lady told me, "I love you unconditionally." Wow. It was really mind-boggling since no one had ever told me that. A therapist told me no one loves you unconditionally. I'm not sure about that, but the lady who told me that wanted my time. She had motives. I know God loves each peach and me unconditionally. God loves us unconditionally. Love you, hate you, wanna be you. I had an associate, Reverend Zena, who told me constantly, "You are the smartest person I know. You are so beautiful. You could be my daughter's mother." She attended one charity event and said, "In my 60-something years of living, I have never been to anything where everything was free." After about a year of her using me and trying to mind F me, the relationship shriveled and died. What she loved about me, she hated about me. She wanted to be me, but hated me at the same time. I have had a similar encounter with a genderqueer Black male. Some love you and hate you and want to be you all at the same time. It's pathological and it's Black on Black, often woman on woman hate. Foreigners, challenged and superstars. Foreigners are peaches who are either challenged or superstars. They are so far outside of the norm or outside of the box that they seem strange. I consider my friend Claudia A. Whitworth, publisher of the Roanoke Tribune, to be a foreigner. And from her foreword in my latest volume of poetry and our conversations, she thinks I am a foreigner too. She wrote this: "All who encounter the presence of the indomitable spirit of Dr. Judi Love, whether in person or through her ceaseless pen, should be forewarned that, without special protective armor, you could get overwhelmed, as with any force of any of life's other natural forces, as fire, wind, water, or love. Of one thing, however, you can be sure: your life will never be the same after touching hers. In brief, pure, powerful, and patient, all human aspirations, but seldom human qualities." Claudia A. Whitworth, Editor-in-Chief, the Roanoke Tribune. Thank you, Mother Claudia. Innovators. Innovators like Kandi Burruss-Tucker, founder of the Candy Factory and Bedroom Candy, are peaches we can all learn from. Not only is Kandi an innovator, she also encourages others. There are hundreds of types of peaches that we can discuss further, including those who are man-crazy, food-crazy, shopaholics, and argue-a-thon queens. As we have established, the majority of Black families are headed by Black women. One of my helpers' sons said to me, "I am the only one on my street whose daddy lives with me." My reflex was to ask, "What did you tell Jesus for that?" That's something to be thankful for. That's something to thank Jesus for. With that in mind, most Black families are headed by Black women, whether there are children in the home or not. One of my portraits, or a combination of one or more, may resemble people in your family and my family. After all, families are simply made up of people like you and people like me. This ends chapter 7 on portraiture. And thank you for joining us, and we will continue next time on page 201 with the chapter on the Black family. Until next time, love is power, power to the peaches, peach power. The Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you, and give you peace, power, and love. More love. Boost.